The Lady Knox Geyser is a geyser in the Waiotapu area of the Taupō Volcanic Zone in New Zealand. It is named after Lady Constance Knox, the second daughter of Uchter Knox, 15th Governor of New Zealand. The geyser is induced to erupt daily at 10:15 a.m. by dropping a surfactant into the opening of the vent. Eruptions produce a jet of water reaching up to 20 m and can last for over an hour, depending on the weather. The visible spout is made of rocks placed around the base of the spring to enhance the eruption. Over the years, silica from the eruptions has built up to give a white cone-shaped appearance. Because the geyser was discovered early in the 20th century, it has no Maori name, unlike almost every other thermal feature in New Zealand.
Good morning everyone and welcome to Waiotapu Thermal Wonderland. My name's Daniel and I've got the privilege of this morning of explaining the Lady Knox Geyser to you this morning. Now just before I go over the main speech about the geyser, I'm just going to quickly go over a few little safety notes for everyone. Now for people that are heading back to the park after seeing the geyser eruption, now when you are walking around the park, it is really important for everyone just to stay on the formed pathways at all times. It's just for your own safety because it is a very active geothermal park. And also before you head through, it's a good idea just to check that you've got appropriate footwear on as well before heading through the park as well. Okay, so the first main bit I'll start talking about the speech is geysers in general. Now to see a geyser eruption, it is quite tricky because there's only a few places in the world you can see geysers erupt. Of course here in New Zealand, but also in the United States, in Iceland, and also in remote places in Russia as well. Now, way back in the 1800s, down in the Taupo region, there was estimated to be about 130 geysers scattered throughout the Taupo region. But by the 1970s, the number had dropped down to 15 geysers in the area. Now, the reason why there was a drop in number of geysers throughout the Taupo district was through natural occurrences, but also man-made interference as well. But luckily, right here at Waiotapu has been a very strong and active geyser area. How our first geyser here was first discovered back by the Europeans was back in 1901. Now back then, New Zealand decided to build its first open prison. And they decided to build the prison right here at Waiotapu. The prison was built not too far from here. It was just on the other side of the main car park from where you parked your cars here this morning. Now when this prison was built, its main objectives were to bring all the prisoners from the Rotorua Lake district. So all the prisoners throughout the Rotorua district came out here to Waiotapu. When they came out here, the prisoners were also told they had to work off their time as well. So the prisoners were employed to cut the light bush and shrub to make way for the roads, but also the planting of the pine trees throughout the district as well. Now, as you could imagine, way back then, it would have been a very hard and a very dirty job. So when some of the prisoners, while exploring the area, they came across this geyser field here. When they first came across this geyser here, there was no cone shape to it at all. It was all flat. It was just bubbling hot water. When the prisoners saw the bubbling hot water, they got quite excited about it because hot water to them was a bit of a treat because it wasn't freely available to them back at the camp. So the prisoners started talking and they decided to use that hot water to their advantage. And pretty much they used that hot water to wash themselves and also their clothes with. And one day they were sitting around the base of the spring here busy doing their laundry. When they were doing their laundry, one of the prisoners by accident dropped his bar of soap into the spring. Now what he did is he changed the surface tension in the water. So by accident actually setting off the geyser. So all of a sudden the geyser just erupted, shooting the water into the air plus the clothes, and the prisoners went running back into the shrub. It's quite an effective washing machine plus dryer at the same time, which is pretty cool. After the geyser had done its eruption, the prisoners came back down here and they started talking amongst each other, and they all agreed that soap was setting off this geyser. So the prisoners just kept adding their soap to the geyser and just setting it off all the time just for their own entertainment. Now, a few others also came down here as well, and they all started talking in a group, and they all decided, well, let's have a little bit more fun with it. And what they did is they placed rocks around the base of the spring of the geyser, giving it that cone shape and allowing the water to turn into like a chimney effect and makes the geyser go off even higher as well. Now, what I'm actually adding into the geyser this morning is a chemically engineered surfactant. Now, it's environmentally friendly, but it sets the geyser off in the same way as that the prisoners were doing way back then. So I'll just quickly add it into the geyser now. So the only reason why we're adding surfactant to this geyser is the natural eruption cycle of this geyser is between 24 hours to 72 hours. So yes, the geyser would go off on its own without us adding any surfactant to it, but it would erupt anywhere between those two times, and we wouldn't know when. So it makes it easier for you guys to come down here and see it go off at a particular time instead of waiting here for a couple of days for the geyser to go off. So what's actually happening underneath the geyser here? Just below ground here, just below ground level here, there is a large chamber of water. Now just below that chamber of water, there's another chamber of water as well. The bottom chamber of water is reaching temperatures over 150 Celsius. So what's actually stopping that boiling water just erupting out of the geyser? It's the cooler water that's just above it, and that cooler water is around about 90 Celsius. What the surfactant is doing right now is it's breaking the surface tension in that cooler water. So the cooler water is now mixing in with the hot water. And when you get those two different temperatures of water meeting, the water turns into steam and expands and pressurizes and just keeps building up pressure more and more, and then the geyser will just suddenly erupt. When the geyser does erupt, it can reach up to heights of 20 meters, and the eruption is also known to last up to an hour as well. The initial eruption of the geyser is its most highest and its most strongest, and from there onwards it sort of slowly starts dying down. Now both chambers of water underneath the ground here hold about 27,000 litres of water. So there is a fair bit of water just underneath the ground just here. Also in this water source there is a mineral called silica that's in the water. Now silica is a mineral that you'll find in every rock all around the world. It's on every sandy beach. But in this water source it's very rich with silica. So when the geyser erupts, it deposits the mineral silica around the geyser. So that's what's given it the white cone shape appearance to the geyser, is that silica buildup. Now the geyser is named after Lady Constance Knox. Now she was the daughter of Lord Ranfurly. Lord Ranfurly was the 15th Governor of New Zealand back in 1903. Part of his duties was to inspect all prisons throughout New Zealand. So when he came out here to the one at Waiotapu, he was also told about the geyser on his way out. So he decided to bring his family down here to see the geyser. They came down here to do a bit of a photo shoot, and he decided to give the privilege to his daughter, Lady Constance Knox, to set off the geyser, and she sort of set off the geyser, and then it just got christened there onwards as the Lady Knox Geyser. Now the geyser doesn't look like it's too far away from erupting, so if you guys have got any questions at all about the park or about the geyser, please feel free to come and see me at any point during the day. I'm happy to answer any questions. But I'll quickly move out of the way. But apart from that, hope you enjoy the rest of your time here with us at Waiotapu Thermal Wonderland. And I hope you have a nice day. And thank you so much.
Go.